For most visitors to Sumatra, Bukit Lawang is the place to see wild orangutans. I spent a month there filming these and any other wildlife I could find. To view my orangutans, go to the link at the end of this video, Wildlife Chronicles Orangutan. For everything else, keep on viewing. Most of the hotels and restaurants are strung out along this fast-flowing river. On the opposite bank is the looming forest of the Gunung National Park, plus a few hotels. I'm crossing one of several wobbly bridges, which some people do find rather intimidating, to go for my breakfast. Morning. Here comes my breakfast, banana pancake, fairly traditional in Indonesia for the average backpacker. And if I swing to the left, there is the forest. And here's a typical forest edge habitat, complete with Thomas's leaf monk. It's endemic to Sumatra, and the main attraction here after the orangutan. Just look at that hairstyle, no wonder the locals call it the funky monkey. As their name suggests, leaf monkeys mainly eat leaves, but they can't afford just to fill their mouths with any leaves that happen to be close by. Trees don't like having their leaves eaten, so they defend them with various chemicals. For example, alkaloids may be poisonous or taste really unpleasant. Tannins make the leaf really difficult to digest. Leaves do not constitute a particularly nutritious diet anyway. So to maximise the benefit from what they're eating, all leaf monkeys have a large multi-chambered stomach. The other knock-on effect is they have to spend a lot of their time simply stuffing enough leaves down themselves to stay alive. While doing this, they need to be selective, fussy feeders. They devote much of their time to searching out the youngest leaves, because these are lowest in chemical defences. In this group, several of the females had babies. This one is particularly young. It stays close to its mother. As the babies get older, they begin to take more of an interest in their surroundings. The silvered leaf monkey occupies the same area of forest. As you can see, it's far less strikingly coloured. It's also much more widespread, being found in various parts of Southeast Asia. It was while looking for and filming the monkeys that I tended to find most of the other wildlife, such as this small snake. It appears to be similar to some of the bronzebacks, but its exact identity has eluded me up until now. As with all snakes, the tongue is used to detect odours. All the butterflies, such as this egg fly, were typical of open places and forest edges. Here she is laying eggs on a tiny seedling. The yellow glassy tiger is a typical denizen of man-altered habitats such as gardens and rubber plantations. It belongs to the Danaid group of butterflies that also includes the crows and monarchs. Most Neptis species are black and white and are known as sailors. This is one of a smaller number of brown and orange species. Like many tropical butterflies, this maplet is feeding not on flowers but on damp ground. It enjoys a huge distribution over much of tropical Asia. Note the beautiful green eyes. The peacock pansy is common in gardens and plantations, but you won't find it deep in the gloomy forest interior. The large eye spots on the hind wings are a notable feature. The various species of bush browns are much smaller. They also bear conspicuous eye spots, but this time on the forewings. By far the largest butterflies in this area are the various species of swallowtails. This is the very widespread and successful Great Mormon. The fluttering male with his blue hind wings never has tails. The females are very variable. Sometimes they have tails, sometimes not, as here. He spent several minutes energetically showering her with scent in an effort to persuade her to mate with him. As you can see from her frayed hind wing, she's pretty old. She'd been busy laying eggs when he first came across her. So his efforts will inevitably end in failure, as seen here. So we move now from a swallowtail which, by general standards, is pretty large, to one of a pair which are the smallest in the world. These are called dragon tails. They're drinking on damp ground that's probably been soaked by monkey urine. There are plenty of monkeys around. These must be champion drinkers. Just look at those jets of water being ejected from the rear end. All that liquid is being sucked up through the very narrow channel in the proboscis. This is the black thread-like structure projecting downwards from the head. The abdominal pump that operates this system really must be incredibly powerful. All this is about obtaining the salts contained in the urine. Just how these can be absorbed with such a high liquid throughput is a mystery to me. They're such committed drinkers that once they get going, they virtually ignore anything happening around them. Now and again they change position, seeking a spot where the urine concentration is higher. Fortunately, this is a widespread butterfly, found through much of tropical Asia. The dragon tails were drinking right beside a forest pool full of dragonflies, mainly forest skimmers. Despite hours of observations, I still find the behaviours exhibited by the males rather puzzling. The fact that they're happy to perch so closely together indicates that they can't be territorial. Yet they spend a lot of time in airborne chases of each other. Then they repeatedly return to the same perch. I presume that, as in most dragonflies, the females are much duller, but I've never seen one, despite seeing thousands of males spread out over many years. These striking pink water lilies were quite a feature of this pond. After a few days without rain, the water level dropped and left the water lily leaves stranded on the mud. A group of long-tailed macaques now moved in and engaged in a rather surprising feeding behaviour. They started to pull up the stems and rhizomes of the lilies and ate them. A passing local informed me that the monkeys use these for medicinal purposes, as do the people in the village nearby. My informant told me that the plant is used for treating stomach ailments as well as other problems. The more conventional diet for a macaque involves a lot of fruit, as seen here. Some fruits are more problematic than others. The spikes on this durian are extremely sharp. I can testify to that. It's very difficult even to pick them up. Just look at those teeth. While the adults fed, the babies played, and that's quite normal in macaque society. The rain returned, the water in the pond returned, and so did the dragonflies. This time, these included this rather larger scarlet male skimmer with more or less transparent wings. As we're about to see, the female is far drabber than these beautiful males. Here she goes, bobbing rapidly up and down as she washes her eggs off into the water. Meanwhile, her erstwhile mate hovers attentively above her. He's there to try and ensure that no rival male rushes in, grabs hold of the female, and carries her off for another mating. But wait a minute, what's happening here? An apparent mating pair. But if so, that's a very peculiar female. She's the same colour as the male. But what about here? Is this a red female laying eggs? Or a male who thinks it's a female going through the motion of laying eggs? That's a mystery I'm going to leave unanswered. And now, if you'd like to see the orangutans, go to the link below.